Today, I'm joined by Fire Chief Leigh Sawicki from the Lloydminster Fire Department to get some tips on fire safety during the holiday season. So, with the holidays right around the corner, there's a lot of people putting up decorations and lights. What are some things that people should be watching for from a fire safety standpoint?
A lot of the stuff that we're trying to put out there, it's pretty much the same message that's going out across from most departments across Canada. Trees, we want to make sure that people are picking, if it's a live tree, that they're picking a healthy tree. It's green, that is moisture content's good, that they're always watering it, making sure that it's staying healthy and green. Christmas lights, we want to make sure that you're using CSA approved lights, that you're checking the connections for any damage to the wire, loose connections, broken bulbs, frayed cords, things like that. If you have any of that stuff, we want to make sure that you're not using them. I would dispose them and replace them. LED lighting seems to be the wave of the future here. The LED lighting actually produces less heat from a halogen type bulb, so which is always good. Plus, they're also good for conserving power. Make sure that you always turn your lights off before going to bed or leaving the house. Never leave lit candles unattended. It's a big one. It is the season that everybody likes to use candles, so burning candles should be at least 1 foot away from anything that can burn.
And so, what are some of the more common accidents or calls that you guys are going to be getting throughout the holiday season?
I think a lot of the calls that we're getting now are carbon monoxide calls. It's that time of year, furnaces are kicking in more often than not. So people haven't checked their smoke detectors or their carbon monoxide detectors, and we've had a lot of false alarm type calls for those because of that. Some of the detectors haven't been replaced in that 10-year time frame. So smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors usually have a lifespan of 10 years. So we should check the manufacturing date. And if they're past 10 years, people should be replacing them.
And so, a lot of people have probably already done this, but there's a lot of people up on ladders hanging up lights. What are some things that they should be keeping an eye on when they're doing that?
So I would ensure that we don't have an icy ground, that you have a good footing for the ladder. Should always have a spotter. Instead of doing it yourself, should always have a second person there ensuring that they're holding the ladder. Getting onto the roof, if you're on the roof putting up Christmas lights and things like that, I would ensure that you have a good footing, whether you're wearing those cleats on the bottom of your shoes or boots. Yeah, it's the ice on the roofs and the ice on the grounds that are usually going to be the bigger problems.
And with Christmas, a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of baking. They're going to have their oven on for longer. Is there anything that people should be watching out for when they're doing that?
I think the bigger concern is more of safety with young children in the kitchen area, ensuring that we're keeping enough space from, kids touching the pots, hot water on the stove, hot elements and things like that. Make sure they have a space, or keeping kids out of the kitchen or young kids out of the kitchen while they're cooking.
And is there anywhere online where people would be able to find like a checklist or a safety list of things that they should be watching out for?
Yeah, so the National Fire Protection Association actually does have a lot of different checklists when it comes to holiday safety tips and things like that. So whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or any of the holidays that are out there, we are going to work with our communications department to hopefully have something up on our city website, and then on our social media sites. We usually post something during the holiday seasons as well.
And then with winter and Christmas comes a lot of snow removal. With fire hydrants, is there anything that people should be looking out for when they're parking on the streets, just to make it easier for you guys?
So we've had this last little snow dump here that caused a little bit of havoc over the course of the week. So some of the things we have noticed is if when people are shoveling their driveways or shoveling their sidewalks, if they have that fire hydrant located within their property, it would help us out quite immensely if the public would make sure that there's a 3-foot diameter cleared around the fire hydrants, we have easy access if we require the use of them. And the other thing is to ensure that people aren't parking in front of those fire hydrants, because if they are, that makes it a little bit more difficult for us to access them in a timely manner.
Great. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.